Welcome to the very first episode of the 21st century's version of TJ and the Ant. I'm Doug Heim. Some of you may know me better as TJ, which stands for television jockey. Well, I'm about to live up to that name. Welcome to my secretly hidden ant cave, where I've been transferring all my old films and analog videotapes to the digital age. This century, A&T doesn't stand for all-night theater. It now stands for all nostalgic television. Throughout the decades, I've rescued a huge collection of broadcasting history, and that's why I've constructed all of this. I call it my Wayback Time Machine. Get ready, because you're going to see a lot of historic TV shows, commercials, newscasts, telethons, and even a movie that was shot in and around Green Bay. And if you know me, I'll share a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with you. And some really cool historic stuff that you've never seen before, only because it ended up on the cutting room floor. I'll try to keep each episode to about an hour. So, where do I start? I suppose it would only be appropriate to start off the very first episode with a look back at the original Ant, or all-night theater. The first stop with our Wayback Machine, the year 1977. Whew. Welcome to Friday, May 6, 1977, where the very first TJ and the Ant broadcast took place. It marked the very first time that any TV station in the entire state of Wisconsin routinely stayed on the air all night. So, for the very first time since 1977, here is the original TJ and the Ant show open, exactly the way it was that very first night. Unfortunately, there is no copy of that show from 1977. However, I still have the original artwork that was used to create that animated open. It's nothing more than white paper glued onto a black art card. And here's the moon and the stars, and the movie projector. And I also have the original promo that was produced only 1 week after the show premiered in 1977. Here's a look back.
Why is this man staying up all night every Friday night? Go home, Dougie! In response to TJ and the Ant, TV11's assistant chief engineer had this to say: "That dadburn boys can blow up all them tubes." One viewer's response to this 7-hour television marathon: "Egads, that boy has heart." Don't spend your Friday nights watching the lawn get dewy. Watch TJ and the all-night theater, old-time movies, comedy shows, and delightful conversation. Fridays from midnight to sunrise on TV11.
By the way, the voice in that commercial was by a man named Don Shunke. Who's Don Shunke? Don was a creative director at TV11 at the time, and he was also the creator of a television character called Ned the Dead. I hold in my hand the original artwork for TJ and the Ant, and it's on a film cell. It was hand-painted in 1977 by the art director at TV11 by the name of Sue Campbell. More about Sue in a moment. What you're about to see next is another promo for the Ant. This one was produced in 1977, only 3 months after the Ant first premiered on the air.
Hey, what are you? TJ.
Huh?
What?
What do you got on the all-night theater this week?
Well, who are you? Aren't I you?
Huh?
Aren't I you?
No,
Huh?
ain't I you?
No, you're me. No,
you're,
I'm you.
I'm not you.
No,
You're
I'm
me.
you. No,
Huh?
you're
Yeah,
me.
okay. Listen, why don't you tell everybody what you got on the all-night theater this week?
Okay.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't know you had a twin brother, did you?
No, I didn't.
We got the Brickton
Yeah.
Strangler coming up.
Yeah.
And the Captain Hurricane, the second movie, and China Sky will be the third movie, all coming up on the all-night theater. And I'll be bringing my little boy in on the show, and he's coming this week, and let you see what he looks like, and find out what maybe, I don't know, I think it'd be a lot of fun. You know, the all-night theater with, what do you think? You know, with the forecasts and... Sounds great, man. Yeah, with the weather and public service announcements. So we'll see you then, okay? What do you think? Hey, come on, man. Let me, let me know what's happening here.
Originally, the all-night theater was only supposed to be a 4-week experiment. Well, after only 2 weeks on the air, TV11 got flooded with so much mail that the show went on. For those of you that remember, the all-night theater eventually did have its own theme song. Remember? Well, that theme song didn't happen until well into the first year. In late 1977, a band named Slammer came along, and the band's leader, Dave Rogers, wrote, produced, and gifted me with a brand new theme song for the show. What I'm going to play for you next is the first draft recording of that theme. It has never been broadcast until right now. It was only intended to be an audition tape and never actually be used. According to Dave, the creator of the theme, the version you're about to hear was recorded in a motel room while the band was on tour somewhere in northern Wisconsin.
Hey, who's got the ad?
It's Friday night and I've been waiting all week. Channel 11, there's something for me. I turned the lights down low to get my favorite show. Watch the best face on TV. On TV. It's gonna go all night. It feels alright. And you never know what you might say. But on the count of two, so keep yourself cool. WLUK. And it's DJ. Yeah, in the air. DJ. In the air.
We now turn the Wayback Machine to the year 1978. Whew. Here is the raw TJ and the Ant show open and theme song the way it was in 1978.
Well, it's Friday night and I've been waiting all week. TV 11 has something for me. I turn the lights down low to get my favorite show and watch the best face on TV. And it's DJ, yeah, 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 the Ant. And it's DJ, yeah, 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 the Ant. He's gonna go all night and the film's alright, and you never know what he might say. Doug is on the tune, so keep yourself glued to WLUK. And it's DJ, yeah, 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 and the Ant. And it's
By the way, that movie projector animation at the beginning was made frame by frame on videotape. TV11 had the region's first videotape machine that had that kind of capability. The rest of the footage was shot frame by frame on 16mm film. I know because I did it myself. But the real credit goes to Sue Campbell. Here's Sue in 1978. She's the one in the white shirt to my left. She was the art director at TV11, and she had no computer, so she had to hand paint everything. Back then, each frame was hand painted onto a clear acetate film cell, like this. Sue created not only the background for TJ and the Ant, but these were backgrounds used in the newscast. She also created the background for Barney's Clubhouse Pow. These were used in the newscast while the newscaster was reporting a news story. Sue was also the region's first true stop-action film animator. And here's the proof. This is a short animation Sue hand-painted frame by frame. It was for a Christmas station identification. TV11's logo was later superimposed on the Christmas ornament. The only other footage I have of the original Ant theme was recorded on 16mm magnetic film. It was filmed in the summer of 1978. Over the years, the magnetic soundtrack has deteriorated, so I must warn you that the audio is not very good. This next clip is of Dave Rogers and the band Slammer performing the Ant theme live on stage at Pierce Park in Appleton, Wisconsin. Even though the audio is bad, the video is pretty historic.
Okay, right now we'd like to bring up a gentleman what the song is all about, Mr. Doug Heim from TJ and the Ant.
Well, that was 1978. Did you see anyone you know in that film? That was the same year the all-night theater featured a thing called the mystery picture. It was an extreme close-up of something, and the viewer had to guess what it was. Well, guess what? I still have the original pictures. Here is this episode's mystery picture. It's going to be a little tricky to figure out because these pictures are old. And keep in mind, this image was taken in 1978. What is it? Well, I'll slowly zoom out and give you clues throughout this episode, and I'll give you the answer at the end. Well, that's all of the TJ and the Ant stuff for right now. But don't worry, I have hours more I promise coming in future episodes. And since this is only our first episode, I'm going to start out by showing you the oldest footage I could possibly find. Let's set the Wayback Machine to May 12th, 1962. Jim Marshall was a news director at WBAY-TV during the 60s and provided this short clip of President Kennedy in Milwaukee that day. This footage was never actually used because of the flutter in the film. Jim also provided this silent film footage of WBAY studios in the 1960s. Okay, let's fast forward 10 years and take the Wayback Machine to the year 1972. Whew. In 1972, TV11 became the first local TV station with weather radar. And what you're about to see next is a 6-minute video of the tower being erected right next to the TV station. It was filmed on 16mm silent film and has never been broadcast until now. And I have to tell you, it was quite the production to assemble. All of the footage was on one film reel and nothing was spliced in sequential order. And add to that, every scene needed to be color corrected. In charge of the project was Elmo Reed, Marsh Williamson, and Bob Yeager. Here's what TV11 looked like in 1972 and the construction of the first weather radar tower. Besides putting up a weather tower in 1972, TV11 also produced and launched a promotional theme called Closer to Your World. It too was originally shot on 16mm film from a helicopter flying all over northeastern Wisconsin. Ron Erickson was the director of the promo, and some of the footage was filmed by Pat Crollo. You should know what you were about to see would have been long gone if it wasn't for Pat Crollo. Not knowing that I had already junk-picked the original raw film footage decades earlier, Pat contacted me out of the blue about 20 years ago to let me know that he had found the original audio tapes. I now had all of the elements, and there it sat until now. What you are about to see is a reconstruction of the original promo.
Move closer to your world, my friend. Take a little bit of time. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see.
Next, I'll show you the full 2-minute length version that aired on TV11 every night in 1972, just before the national anthem and sign-off. But before I do, here's a look back at some footage that I know you've never seen before. That's because it ended up on the cutting room floor. You're looking at what downtown Green Bay looked like in 1972. What I noticed most is there's no mall. And this footage of the current Mason Street Bridge under construction right alongside the old bridge. And now, for the first time in over 50 years, here is the fully restored 2-minute length version of TV11's Closer to Your World promo.
Move closer to your world, my friend. Take a little bit of time. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see. Just a little bit of time. That's all it takes to bring your world together. Take a little bit of time. Don't turn away, my friend, tomorrow's are forever. Get close to people. Your world needs you to care, to share it. Take the time. Join hands, my friend, with all the people in your world. Move in close. Move on in, and you'll see. Move closer to your world, my friend. Move closer to your world. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see.
Here's a zoom out and a clue of this episode's mystery picture. Remember, the image was taken in 1978. It's part of something that hung on a wall or sat on a desktop. It was very popular at the time. Every home had one, and a business couldn't survive without it. And just like today's iPhone, you held it in your hand. Next up, a recording of a 1972 TV show recorded on 2-inch videotape like this. On a videotape machine like this. Except this TV show was recorded on a videotape machine on wheels. In 1972, TV 11 had a remote truck that could go anywhere on location to produce and record live television shows. We called the remote truck the mustard wagon for obvious reasons. The TV show you are about to see was recorded on Friday nights in Green Bay and then aired on Sunday mornings at 11 on TV 11. The location of the TV show, Riverside Ballroom. The TV show, Riverside Presents, hosted by John Kafka. And what you are about to see is a show that aired on Easter Sunday in 1972. The show features the big band music of Gene Heyer and the band. And as an extra treat, during the commercial breaks, you'll see more of the Closer to Your World promos as well as more mystery picture clues. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riverside Presents from the Riverside Ballroom in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And of course, we're honoring Gene Heyer and his fabulous band on their 25th anniversary of artistry and music. And we have some plaques that we will be awarding to the band a little bit later on. Of course, we started out with the Heine Polka. That was the first number that Gene and the band played at the old Maribel Ballroom in Maribel, Wisconsin, 25 years ago tonight. It was Easter Sunday, 1947. Gene, what's next? That's Why She Cried. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And at this time, I'd like to read this very nice letter from the Manitowoc Musicians Association, Local 195, American Federation of Musicians, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. April 6, 1972, Gene Heyer Orchestra, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Dear Brother Gene, on behalf of Manitowoc Musicians Association, Local 195, I would like to extend heartiest congratulations on the 25th anniversary of your orchestra. Local 195 is very proud to boast of a group of its members that have contributed so much to the promotion of old-time and modern music through recordings and public appearances in the entire Midwestern United States. Without doubt, all the friends you and your band have made join Local 195 in wishing you many, many years of continued success. Fraternally yours, Joe Weber, President. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Watch this. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Move closer to your world, my friend. Take a little bit of time. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see. Just a little bit of time. That's all it takes to bring your world together. Take a little bit of time. Don't turn away, my friend, tomorrows are forever. Get close to people. Your world needs you to care, to share it. Take the time. Join hands, my friend, with all the people in your world. Move in close. Move on in, and you'll see. Move closer to your world, my friend. Move closer to your world. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to dedicate this show to Mrs. Jean Heyer, who's recuperating from surgery at Manitowoc Hospital, and very best wishes to Esther. And of course, Jean plays all types of music, and of course, Esther is Polish, so now we're going to play a little Polish tune, the Dreamy Fish Waltz. Jean Heyer and the band. Genial Gene Heyer and the beautiful Dreamy Fish Waltz, and of course the accordion stylings of none other than Vic Peck. Welcome home from Florida to Eugene DeVillers and Blanche Euclid, and also Mr. and Mrs. Owen DeVillers of Milwaukee. And hello to all the folks down at Kleiner's Bar over at West Bend, where they always watch Riverside Presents. Nice to hear that. Hope you enjoy it. Also for Mr. and Mrs. Molly from Algoma, requested by Mary Malowiski. And for Mr. and Mrs. Carl Klingbeil of Beloit, Wisconsin, best wishes. And for Netta Liebhaum from Joe, Linda, Jeff, and Helen. And also from her husband, Norm. And for the 55th wedding anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. John Uhl of Sheboygan. And the 25th anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. Elmer Lenser of La Crosse, Wisconsin. And the 25th silver anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. George Lenz over at Neenah. And also for Mr. and Mrs. Henry Harders of Winona, Minnesota, on their 68th wedding anniversary. Congratulations, Genial Gene Heyer. Waltz time. Katie's Waltz. Very beautiful Katie's Waltz, as only Genial Gene Heyer and the orchestra can play it. And a special welcome and hello to a group of 50 fine people from the Wausau and Marathon area are down here on a bus on behalf of the Corn Crib Inn up in Marathon. Wait till we get up there. And we'll be up to see you. Thank you. And happy birthday to John Artis, one of the gang having a birthday. And we'll be right back.
Move closer to your world, my friend. Take a little bit of time. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've probably been looking at this and wondering what it is. So am I. But first of all, I want to personally congratulate Gene Heyer on 25 years in the very fabulous orchestra business. And I mean, your band is fabulous, Gene.
Thank you, John.
You're certainly an artist in every sense of the word. Now let's see what this is all about.
A lot of quarters on there.
It says, there you go. It says, roses, I send you roses. I think this is the favorite number of Mr. and Mrs. Bill Pfeiffer, if I am correct. And it says, congratulations to the band, one of the best throughout the land, who have given us many hours of pleasure, many hours that we will always treasure. Your music makes us feel alive. May we enjoy you another 25. Gene Heyer, congratulations. This is from Bill and Lila Pfeiffer. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Bill and Lila. They're one of our great followers, and we appreciate you people.
Real good. Don't spend those quarters at the bar tonight, Gene. And of course, they like the big band styling, so here is a very familiar theme. Lawrence Welk's Bubbles in the Wine. Genial Gene Heyer. Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful Bubbles in the Wine. And we'll be right back after these fine words.
Here's a partial zoom out and another clue to this episode's mystery picture. Don't forget, the image was taken in 1978. It's a part of something that hung on a wall or sat on a desktop. It was as popular as the iPhone is today. You held it up to your head and you even talked into it. The answer is coming up after Riverside Presents with John Kafka, recorded in 1972.
Happy birthday time for the 11th birthday of Julie and Glenn Thomas of Two Rivers, and for William Bawes of Green Bay and Albert Voigt of Daggett, Michigan, and for George Roshak of Wells, Michigan. And for the birthday of Mrs. William Bearhond of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and for Mrs. Robert A. Burns up at Wakefield, Michigan. And for Mrs. Verna Weiss of Sheboygan, and the 82nd birthday of Mrs. Amos Som Sr. over at Oshkosh, the 86th birthday of Mrs. Estella Ringhand of Brooklyn, Wisconsin, and for the 88th birthday of Mrs. Julia Hint over at Two Rivers, and for the Najedalo clan here, Leanne Najedalo, Carol Najedalo, and Kathy Najedalo on their birthdays. Happy birthday. And now, polka time. Gene, I was really honored when Gene Heyer wrote this one for me and for himself, of course, the Gene and John. We just got the introduction on last week. So here we go, the Gene and John polka, Gene Heyer. Gene Heyer and the Gene and John polka. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, folks. Want to play a number for all the hair cutters, the barbers over at Northeastern Wisconsin Technical Institute, and also for Bill Karras and Dale Hefner, requested by Carl Locke. And birthday requests for Grace Blonick, Rita Castor, Sharon DeGrave, and also for Jim Pribble of Green Bay, Carol Wesley Kiwani, Mildred Pribble of Manitowoc. And for Alice Schneider of Chilton and Dick Candler over at Hilbert. And happy birthday to Mrs. Bill Locke down at Johnsonville at Locke's Hall in Johnsonville, requested by her sons, Carl and Donald, and of course her husband, Bill. Happy birthday also to Vivian Sprang. Polka time once again. Genial Gene Heyer, the Squeakers Polka. This is a dandy. Genial Gene Heyer and the Squeakers Polka. Kurt Kolbig knows about that one, Bernie Wavernick, when we go down to the Squeaker Sip Club over at Tisch Mills. And of course, that extra stub you got on your admission tonight is good for a free drink, compliments of Gene Heyer. And of course, this afternoon, Ludger Carmen. Friday the 14th, Joe Carmen. Sunday the 16th, we'll be celebrating my birthday, and you get a free drink on that one also with $1 admission. And of course, Gene Heyer will be playing for that one from 2 to 6 in the afternoon. And then from 7 to 11, Sunday night, April 16th, the first big benefit bingo, the March of Dimes, free admission. And of course, we'll be selling refreshments, your favorite refreshments. And of course, all the proceeds go to the March of Dimes on Sunday, April 16th. Friday, April 21st, Jerry Gates. Sunday, April 23rd, there won't be any dance. We have a private party. Friday, April 28th, Tony Gauze. And we'll be right back.
Move closer to your world, my friend. Take a little bit of time. Move closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Maestro Genial Gene Heyer with a few words.
I have some requests here for the 15th birthday of Cindy Hoffensberger of Menasha, also for her grandmother, the 77th birthday of Mary Tights, and the 19th birthday of Gene Hoffensberger. And also for honest John Dufik of Manitowoc having his birthday, Mr. and Mrs. Jerry Stipa and Mr. and Mrs. Bob Meyer of Manistee, and also Mr. and Mrs. Harold Kraus from Manistee, Harold Kraus Sr., and also for Mrs. Adeline Pisani, who's in the Holy Family Hospital. And here we have one requested by Gibby Ledwig, one of our saxophone players from New Holstein, and he'd like to have one played for his dad, Fred Ludwig, on his 81st birthday, 80 years young, from Chilton, Wisconsin.
Gene, was this one of your original sax players?
No, it just helps us out once in a while.
Okay.
And I would like to say thank you. We've had such an enormous amount of phone calls, phone calls, even telegrams, letters, and cards, and especially Mr. and Mrs. Frank Bartell from Sheboygan with their beautiful flowers they sent up. And of course, we can't forget Pfeiffer's with their little...
Right. Right.
One of my old playmates, she said.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Genial. Thank you. And wedding anniversary congratulations on the 46th of Mr. and Mrs. Leo Kramer. And for the wedding anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. August Wallman on their 34th anniversary from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. And wedding anniversary, the 51st wedding anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Otto Stroff at Manitowoc. And also for the 48th anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Albert Nelson over at Sheboygan. And the 28th anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Bernard J. Hill, Iron Mountain, Michigan. And happy birthday to Mrs. John Wilkie. Is that your mother, Russ? Wonderful. Congratulations to Mrs. Wilkie. Thank you. And for the birthday of Mrs. Darrell Pollock and the 49th wedding anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. Art Kirkin. Congratulations to these fine people. Genial Gene Heyer and the band featuring 2 accordions, Vic Peck and Russ Wilkie, the Clarine Waltz. Gentlemen, take her away.
Sorry, that's where the tape I have runs out. So that's the way it was at Riverside Ballroom with John Kafka in the spring of 1972. And 1972 was also the year I became an employee at TV 11. It's time for the answer to this episode's mystery picture. I told you it was something that hung on a wall or sat on a desktop. It was as popular in 1978 as the iPhone is today. Are you ready for the answer? It was a telephone. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Ant. But don't worry, I have a lot more coming up in future episodes. The next episode will feature more historic commercials, segments of the original TJ and the Ant, and another mystery picture. And in future episodes, I'll also share a lot more behind-the-scenes stuff, and for the first time ever, I'll expose the secrets of how Barney of Barney's Clubhouse Pow actually worked. I hope you'll tune in, and as always, I'll be looking forward to your comments, requests, and most of all, your suggestions. As I say goodbye on this episode, I leave you with the rolling credits that aired on the original Ant Anniversary Special that aired on May 5th, 1978. See you next time.